The WNBA just got caught red-handed trying to suspend their biggest star over nothing, and the internet did not let them get away with it. What you're about to hear sounds like fiction, but every second of it actually happened on live television, in front of millions of witnesses. A referee looked at an accidental, off-balance stumble, and turned it into a suspension threat against the most talked-about player in women's basketball history. And when the league tried to quietly clean up the mess hours later, fans weren't having it. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this incident has basketball insiders questioning whether the WNBA can actually handle the spotlight it fought so hard to get. Welcome to WNBA Analysis. Let's break this down. Before we get into it, if you're someone who genuinely cares about fairness in this league, about seeing these athletes get the respect they've earned, then do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. This channel exists because of viewers like you who refuse to let moments like this slide by unnoticed. Every subscription tells us we're not alone in caring about this sport getting it right. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to this community we're building together. So go ahead, tap subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's get into the story. It happened in the middle of a tightly fought battle between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. Caitlin Clark was driving hard toward the baseline, fighting through physical defensive pressure, when she lost her footing completely. Off balance, sliding out of bounds, her momentum carried her directly into a baseline official standing nearby. Now, if you've watched even a handful of basketball games in your life, you know this happens constantly. Players crash into cameramen, refs, chairs, water coolers. It's part of the chaos of a fast-paced, physical sport. Nobody bats an eye most nights. But this night was different. The official reacted immediately. The whistle went up, and instead of waving it off as incidental contact, which, by every replay angle available, is exactly what it was, she called a technical foul, claiming Clark had intentionally made forearm contact. Let that sink in for a second. A player loses her balance because of defensive pressure, her body physically can't stop its momentum, and the ruling on the floor was that this was somehow intentional. Here's where the story escalates from questionable call to full-blown crisis. Under WNBA rules, once a player accumulates their 7th technical foul in a season, the next one, the 8th, triggers an automatic one-game suspension along with a financial penalty. This technical foul was Clark's 8th, which meant, in an instant, the Fever's franchise player, the player driving unprecedented ratings, sold-out arenas, and record merchandise sales for the entire league, was suddenly barred from suiting up for a marquee showdown against the New York Liberty. Fans immediately zeroed in on the inconsistency. Just moments earlier in the very same broadcast, another player had grabbed an official by the hips to physically move her out of the way during an argument with a Fever player, and no technical was called. Not even a warning. So the question exploded across every platform within minutes. How does incidental, momentum-driven contact earn a suspension-triggering technical, while deliberate physical contact with an official goes completely unpunished? Indiana's head coach didn't hold back in the post-game press conference, calling the decision a product of poor situational awareness. Clark herself stayed composed, telling reporters she'd already reviewed the footage multiple times and was confident the contact was completely accidental. But it was social media where the real firestorm ignited. Analysts, former players, and everyday fans flooded timelines dissecting freeze frames, breaking down the officiating crew's history, and demanding transparency about how technical fouls are actually reviewed. Sports talk shows spent entire segments on it. Podcasts built full episodes around it. And the underlying frustration wasn't really about one call. It was about a pattern fans felt they'd seen building for a while, a sense that the league's most visible, most scrutinized player was being held to a different standard than everyone else on the floor. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about business. Arenas hosting Fever games have been selling out at a level the league has never experienced before. Teams have relocated games to bigger venues just to meet ticket demand. Broadcast ratings are shattering records set just seasons earlier. Every single one of those numbers is tied, in large part, to the attention Caitlin Clark's rookie campaign brought to women's basketball. So when a referee's split-second decision threatens to sideline that player over what looks, From every camera angle, like incidental contact, that's not a small mistake. That's a decision with real financial consequences for broadcast partners, sponsors, and the league's own growth trajectory. Analysts have pointed out that growing pains are normal for any league experiencing this kind of explosive expansion. But those same analysts are warning that inconsistent officiating threatens to undo a lot of that hard-won momentum if it isn't addressed quickly and transparently. And then, just as everyone was bracing for a multi-day media storm, the story flipped completely. Within hours, the WNBA league office reviewed the play and officially rescinded the technical foul. Just like that, the 8th technical was erased from the record. The suspension was cancelled. Clark was cleared to play against New York. On paper, that sounds like a win. The league caught its own mistake and fixed it fast. But here's the thing. Speed doesn't erase the deeper question fans are now asking. If the video evidence was clear enough for league office to overturn the call within hours, why wasn't it clear enough for the officials standing right there, in real time, to simply let the play continue? That gap, between what was obvious on replay and what was called live on the court, is exactly what's fueling the ongoing conversation about officiating standards across the entire league. This incident isn't really about one referee or one missed call. It's a symptom of something bigger, a league scaling faster than its infrastructure was built to handle. Fans aren't demanding perfect officiating. Nobody expects that in a fast-moving, physical sport judged in real time by human beings. What fans are demanding is consistency, the same standard applied to every player, every night, regardless of who they are or how much media attention follows them. Because here's the reality. Every time a questionable technical foul makes headlines, it chips away a little more at the trust between the league and the fans who are investing real money into tickets, streaming subscriptions, and merchandise. That trust is the foundation this entire business is built on. And for a player like Caitlin Clark, who is already facing an unprecedented level of physical defensive attention on the floor every single night, the last thing she needs is officiating decisions that punish her for simply trying to maintain her balance under pressure. So where does this leave the WNBA? At a genuine crossroads. The league proved it can move fast to correct a glaring error, but reactive damage control isn't the same thing as proactive reform. Training programs, transparent review processes, and real accountability for officiating crews aren't optional anymore. They're necessary if the league wants to protect the credibility it spent decades building, especially now, at the exact moment the whole world is finally watching. If you found this breakdown valuable, this is exactly the kind of story we cover here on WNBA Analysis: the calls, the controversies, and the conversations that actually matter in this league. Hit subscribe if you want to stay on top of every twist as this season unfolds. Drop your take in the comments. Do you think the league is doing enough to fix its officiating problem? And we'll see you in the next one.